Yeah, it's online.
Hello dear viewers, welcome to the Soma stream. Feels nice to return to this beautiful horror game, and today we'll be playing Extinction ESS-Apollo mod, which sets the action right in the space, and I'm really curious to see how that would look. And I'll be playing it with Paul Gyalay, known in the community as Draugemalf. So thank you very much, Paul, for coming to the stream. I'm very happy to be playing the mod with you today.
I'm really glad to be here. So, yeah.
It is time to start playing. It didn't offer me to choose an easy mode, which is probably a good thing because it's probably not supporting it anyway. Oh.
This is Cesar Zabala of the TSH-1 speaking, requesting docking procedures.
You should turn on subtitles. And closed captions. Because, yeah, I usually... There's
We're part of a salvage team sent to explore and recover the derelict ESS-Apollo. We hope to re-establish communications with the Earth. If we don't secure more resources, we won't survive another year. I repeat, if anyone is there, please respond.
I don't think there's anyone left.
So, we board the station?
We board the station.
Looks intriguing.
Hey Soma, you there? I'm getting short-range radio interference.
I hear you. I'm trying to get past decon.
Good to hear. I'll be checking the other sectors to see if there's anything here. Keep in touch.
Will do.
Okay, so I want to talk a bit about the intro sequence and cinematic. I actually kind of used a lot of tricks to make that space station work the way it does, in a way that it's made mostly from wall assets and stuff you would find in Theta, a bit of some parts of the satellite, and a lot of underwater assets. Like, it's actually very small in the map. It's like 1 or 2 meters wide, I think, and I had to do some tricks with the camera perspective when doing that cutscene.
To make an illusion of scale.
Yeah. And it was really fun to do that. Also, a challenge I had for this part of the map is creating rooms that will work with different stages of lighting and having lights turn on in different states, like you will see. And something I usually do in my mods is work a lot on...
New user detected. External registration found. Zabala, Cesar. Origin, TSH-1 station. Clearance granted.
That went quick. I was afraid I'll have to type something from some paper.
Oh, you do have to do that.
New user ID and PIN code generated.
Should I memorize these things?
Yes, you should. Like, if you look at it, the pin is actually the date, the current date the game is taking place in. Which is,
Alright,
I think
I wrote them
I
down.
set it like a year after the events of Soma. Also, I tend to
Welcome to ESS-Apollo, the top-level relay hub station for the Interplanetary Communications Project. You are currently in Sector D, one of the 3 external wings of the Apollo. This is an all-purpose, self-sustaining, non-specialized module.
I tend to usually put a lot of work into terminals when creating a mod. I think I wrote a lot of lines of code for this, but like the most code I ever wrote for a terminal was from a really big puzzle that was happening only inside the terminal in Extinction Ariadne's Ocean. I think I had over 2,000 lines of code just for that terminal to work.
Impressive. Doesn't seem to be used very often.
Yeah.
It's arrival departure. So
Yeah, so
you probably
after-
see Morlocks in more populated spaces.
Yeah, I kind of tried to tell the story that was happening in the background to the terminals and some audio logs you can find. And like initially there were like more people in the station, but after some point the rest of them departed and there was only one other person left. So, yeah.
So sailing mode. Airlock and shutter. What do we have? Something clicked. If you logged out, you have to log it into it again. Realistic. I keep
Yeah, I
forgetting
think,
that I should press right mouse button instead of escape.
I think a lot of people didn't notice that when they heard that noise, something happened in the room, and they kept on trying to do things on the terminal. So I noticed this when watching people play.
Now only place we can visit is this one. Oh, so colorful.
Sector B is damaged, but it looks like someone moved everything out before, and this looks recent. Maybe there's someone here after all.
The sector is in power saving mode, but seems functional. I'll keep you updated.
The changes between the dark and bright areas, the lighting and the perspective and the details, they look very impressive. Ooh.
Yeah, I actually heard about people having issues with this map specifically performance-wise because of the amount of lights and details I put in, and I actually, before this, I didn't really know how to use visibility areas in Soma, and playing this without visibility areas in like 4K, I'd get only like 15 FPS with a 1080 Titan edition. So that was really bad. So after I added visibility areas, and that took a whole day to add, and just configured them to work so that the whole map isn't rendered at the whole at all times. So after that it worked, but it still had some issues.
Basically, visibility areas are like these portals in Doom 3.
I'm not sure. I didn't mod Doom 3, but it's basically you put areas over rooms and you connect them with portals, and if you see
so besides portals you also have zones, so it's like a Neo Access engine, so every room has to special entity like volume placed on top of the room.
Yeah, but ideally you place them over more than one room, because if you have too many portals, that gets also demanding. So you kind of have to balance it out. You should not use that many visibility areas, but then if you don't use them, it's even worse.
Yes, you need zones, because portals only are not enough, because Doom has BSP processing of the level, which automatically cuts many things and places which cannot be seen, and since that doesn't happen in other engines, and zones are a necessity.
January 29th, 2103. This is Damon Thrask, the only remaining crew member of the ESS-Apollo. If you're here, you probably want to fix the relay station or to salvage what remains. The relay system is beyond repair. After the impact event, external relays started malfunctioning until the whole system collapsed. Contact with what's left on Earth in THS-1 is lost. One-way communications are the only remaining option, provided things don't get damaged.
I wonder if there's anyone left on Earth. There was some ship, I think, and they had troubles contacting anyone.
Oh yeah, you mean the Curie? Yeah, you go through the ruins of that ship, the main game. Like, I'll say more stuff about what I did in my mod universe for Soma about other survivors later, because you will hear this mentioned in the game, this mod. Like, one of the main ideas behind this mod was like, well, humanity was wiped out by the comet, but there were people who survived in other underwater stations. Why would there not be other space stations that can host humans? So
that's an interesting idea.
I was also thinking about having other stations on the moon or Mars, but I was thinking like this is not the direction I want to take my mods into, because I want to actually finish them sometime. But
yes, it's important to scale things down to have chance of finishing. I think these things are squished because circles are like pulled, turned into ovals. Same here. Like here you have like tall circles, and here are normal circles. So
yeah, I think I worked.
It requires some liberties with the content in order to create location.
Yes.
It's interesting, an original field is being created from this brown girder, which really stands out from these grey walls and gives a feeling that it is something different, not Pathos 2. So I think this particular thing, I don't know if it's squished or not. Probably not, because these things look strange, but this looks like a perfect circle, which means it cannot be squished.
I usually do this a lot with Soma assets, just to make things that don't look like the main game, even if and I basically hope that people don't notice the scales are wrong and stuff.
This requires a lot of caution to do correctly. to avoid like distorted textures and stuff like that.
Power's on.
What a hopeful music.
Good for you. I'm heading on to another sector. This one's an accident waiting to happen.
So you have only 2 functional sectors. And there's some damage. 83 days. Quite a while passed before any person arrived in these parts. This is really looking cool, like some circuitry. If you look closer to it.
Yeah, I'm actually not even sure what this was supposed to be in game. It's like, I think the file is like external music player or something, or it might be even a speaker.
Come to think of it, this barely resembles a speaker. So, possibly.
I think
This
those
one kinda abruptly sticked into the ceiling
Yeah.
panel. These kinds of things better be avoided to make it look, because may look unnatural. So I do see there's some work to make it look at least somehow natural, because right at where this thing ends, then it gets sticked. But the problem is that you see this black line here and you don't get it there, so that's how the effect comes. Also, especially here when it's stick into the wall.
Yeah.
These kinds of things are better be avoided. They are minor imperfections, of course, but too many of them can ruin the picture, and it's best to hide them with something or place things in a way that they won't get sticked one to another.
I think that like earlier this year I started learning some very basic 3D modeling and UV mapping for that, and I was like, oh my god, like I can do so much with this and I don't have to force assets together to make
That's
stuff
really
I want
cool.
to make. But then at the same time I kind of got tired and stopped having that much time to make mods. Now the hallway is fully lit.
Yes, it feels different to be here. So many interesting details. I really love to walk around here. Oh, the wire is going right through another wire and right through the broken fallen piece of a ceiling. Actually, was it even ceiling? Doesn't seem like there's anything it could come from.
Yeah, usually at random wires is where I stop caring so much about details, because like they are so hard to place, because the way this game handles them is by having tiny segments like wire with 90 degrees turn, 45 degree turn, and then you have to manually rotate them.
So it is constructed, this wire is constructed with different parts?
Most of it, but like this really big part that has a lot of twists in it is actually one of the special meshes.
It looks more like a special mesh to me, because I cannot find any connections.
It's both, I think.
Oh, this jigger has seen better days. It feels like slowly building tension, like first a small detail, and then there's probably going to be more.
think I could use a blowtorch here.
Now there's gonna be, seems to be a lot of thinking. Blowtorch. For now I might think I should find it somewhere. So I'll try searching the area for that. A business suitcase.
Another thing I really liked with Soma's unused assets are those shiny glow stick candles that I think they are only used in the Abyss once or twice as actual glow sticks. But you can so easily change their color and their emission. And
Excellent, excellent.
I think I used them in all my mods.
That gives more freedom for modding, like maybe like some religious cult placing a lot of these around.
I think that actually most lights and most objects that have an emissive texture can change the color of their emissive texture, so that if you have a light, white light, you can basically turn it into any kind of light you want.
That's an amazing amount of customization. Really
these
good.
neons, they used to be white, the orange neons in that room.
Oh, another door is now open. Oh, this pitch black area of the corridor, it reminds me of an area of Haunting Ground where there was a corridor with similar place, and since you could not see anything, it was really hard to navigate around because there was actually a pit on the floor that is falling.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but now, like, I think all the floor lights were turned off. Like, before, when it was only partially lit up, there were orange lights on the floor, but now they are gone. So I wanted to have that kind of feeling where you have emergency lights on the floor when there's a power outage. I think there were lights like those in Soma and Upsilon.
These things on the ceiling are probably important. I can imagine an electrician or mechanic bringing a ladder here, climbing there, and changing something inside them. Upgrading, fixing. That's really cool. Nicely placed light, and you get a lot of free detailing of the area with one click from these wires. Shadow here, shadow there, and the scene looks more detailed, but not much work. It's a great trick.
Yeah, usually when I do stuff like this, I want to make to have a way of casting shadows, because that makes the whole room look more detailed. And usually, like those things on the ceiling, I usually try to make ceilings look different, because if they look the same everywhere, like you can't take a screenshot and then you can see that, well, it's the same everywhere, that part doesn't look interesting, so I have to make it different. And then you have to find a new way to combine assets.
Yeah. It's a good idea to keep variety. Such a beautiful and interesting picture, like symbols like something like gate to hell, and also in sci-fi vein because we're having a star here.
Yeah. I think it's one of the pictures from one of the bedrooms in Theta. There was one with a lot of posters in it.
Oh, some green things. Like, it's probably some optical effect. It cannot be grass, even though it looks similar, but it's like space. A nice shadow from the smaller planet.
It's December 16th, 2102. The comet Telos is headed towards Earth. International efforts to deflect it have failed. The impact event is imminent. All other crew members have requested transport back to Earth. I suppose simply not to starve to death out here. I had nothing else to lose, so I remained here. I may be able to manage to get this station to be self-sustaining for a few decades.
Something to read. Feels like German. I don't understand this language.
It's just more text email from one other crew member, like more like I think he was basically saying that he would be leaving the station to go to Earth because his family is there, and even if the comet was going to destroy the Earth, like more reinforcing the idea that there was only one person left on this ship and that the others left.
Don't know what's worse. Dying on the Earth or living some years alone in the station. There's a map.
Lockdown removed.
Door control label does not fit the button.
Yeah, it's weird because I think it looks like the way that labels are handled in Soma. It also depends on settings on your computer or on your resolution or like it's a bit tricky to get terminals to work, and there will always be cases where it doesn't look right for
I see.
someone else.
Maybe they were made for full HD resolution, but I'm playing in 1600 on 900 pixels. And since everyone is playing in full HD, probably that's the reason why this resolution.
I also remembered that there was a way to set each terminal's rendering resolution, and that might have been a problem too. Maybe it was something that I forgot to set. I don't know.
In perfect world, terminals would render on the same resolution and just scale everything for the user's resolution, but then again that would create other problems, such as small font looking blurry when it's scaled in a bigger one, so font has to be properly written, not just being an image of a letter. So foggy. So many
I like
small
fog.
greenish.
I use a lot of fog in my mods.
Yeah, that adds a sense of depth to the scene.
Yeah, and
feel-
kind of also fakes volumetric lighting, since
And really nice, it
HDLG
seems like the game supports local fog volumes. That's
but it's just-
also cool.
it's just particle systems though.
Particle systems, yeah. Smokes are particle, but this thing in the corner looks more like an actual fog.
Oh yeah,
So-
that's true. I also use that to kind of set the general background color and feeling of a room. So I usually do that to create some contrast or like complementary colors.
I really like the way it's done, like different room has different colors and they actually have actual colors. It's not like in Gideon Midplant in Dead by Daylight where just the color of whole scene gets changed when you move from room to room. And I think in Doom from 2016 you can also see this kind of effect sometimes, but here it's not something like that. It's honest color of each room, and that makes the scene more convincing and more believable, because in real life lighting does not magically change around us when we move.
Also, like I made a thing in this mod, like I noticed that you in the base Soma game you could not crawl beneath tables and stuff, so I literally made the player be smaller when they crouch, so I think you should be able to crawl under some tables.
Hey, player is actually lying on the ground
Yeah.
for that, so there's a, looks like a new mechanic. I wonder if it will be useful for hiding, because the ability to get under the table reminds me of games like Haunting Ground and The Evil Within, where it's important to hide.
More like
amazing.
Alien Isolation for me, like that's where I saw it and I thought like this would be really nice in Soma. Oh no,
Yep. There's a hole.
actually this is the first time I'm seeing this, and the mod has been out for a year.
Well, that's a flaw, basically, of Soma engine, because if you use ITTech engine, then this kind of hole would never be here, because map simply wouldn't compile with it. It would force you to close the hole and point where it is. But
Oh.
again, with each positive, negative side, there are positive too. Since you don't need map compilation, it's quicker to construct maps and put them together, and you don't have to spend time searching for such holes. And these ceiling panels, they seem to also have custom scale. Omni tool, but Omni tool, this one is probably too broken to use. And it seems like I'll have to find an Omni tool later. So for now it looks like this particular place. We just need to keep it in mind and return later. And this, nice. Like a way to look into another room that's totally different. And
I was
stored
listening to some podcasts about level design, and they mentioned how, like, being able to see places you could go later but not be able to go now will give the player a better sense of the map and where they are. So I decided to kind of try to do that in my mods.
Yeah, it's done often. Like in first Quake, for example, there's a level where at the beginning of the level you have the key, but when you approach it, the key is moved out of your grasp and you see that it's in the area below the starting area, and then there's a one path for you to reach that area. And it's also a good idea, especially in outdoor locations, to have places that the player can see but cannot reach, because that gives the idea that it's not just some island floating in the empty void, but an actual place, a real place where you just have natural boundaries preventing you from exploring it completely. And that's the reason why on my levels there are places where I have cave-ins, locked doors in indoor areas, to make sense that there is something there, you just cannot reach it. That girdle that I noticed.
Pascal, you
Yep.
there? Repeat, you there? What's your status?
Sector B compromised.
Shit.
Well, Sector B, I think B or C were having damage anyway, and only A and D were the ones that were still operational. Nice. Actually, as good as it's possible to do without a custom animation of a hand holding this thing. Oh, finally, looking outside. The stars.
That's actually the void, because it's just a skybox and nothing else.
That makes sense, because there's no point in having more complex rendering for just a set of stars. They are far away anyway, so they will look correct if they're just drawn on the skybox.
I had the problem with another thing you can see out in space, however. But yeah, like, the main idea when creating this mod was that I saw, like, on the Frictional Games forums, there were like one or two like screenshots with assets used to make a space station or something that was in space, and I was like, someone needs to make a mod that's in space, and like, no one did, and no one wanted to, so I had to make it. And then I made it, and literally I was speaking with a friend, and like, when I was writing the backstory and the story for this mod, and at some point he said that the way I wrote the story is like, if I was going to a meeting and they asked me what the story was, and I just said it's a spaceship, and then the other people at the meeting would said yes, and I would be like really glad and say that's it. Like, I really wanted to do a mod that's set in space, and then kind of link it with the other stories I made.
And that's a great idea, to do something that wasn't done before, because it has more chances to stand out this way.
Also, the walls in this room are made from really tiny assets that are stacked on
This
top of each other.
is an asset,
Yeah.
and this is another asset. Like,
Yeah,
it's noticeable through the seams between them.
like I had nothing that would work with the windows in the shape I wanted to make the spaceship. The space station.
Overall, it does look pretty cool. Though, of course, this thing could use just exporting it out of the engine, then connecting everything, remove double vertices, removing parts like these parts, but between them that won't be seen anyway, and then importing back in the engine to destroy these seams. Or maybe there's a different thing could be tried if there's content for that. Just place some trims between them to make them look like they are connected more naturally.
Yeah, at the time I knew nothing about 3D modeling, and like this was my only option. One thing that's really hard to do in Soma is having rooms that have diagonal walls, and then if there is another room you can see, or like if it's connected to another room through that diagonal wall, then you likely will not be able to use box lights or fog areas, so you are more limited in
Yeah, because
what
these
you can
fog
do.
areas are rectangular.
Yeah.
I see. And it's nice how these blue stripes take attention away from the fact that floor texture doesn't have its rotation changed or something, but they take all the attention, and you think it does change unless you look closer at it.
Also, it was intentional to have them blue because complementary colors with orange, like
course.
it's a predominantly orange.
That makes a lot of sense. And this fog looks like such a poisonous color. Looks like something dangerous that maybe people got poisoned here or something.
One moment, I'll be right back in like 20 seconds.
February 24th, 2104. The hydroponic system is running at optimal setting. Recycling systems are subpar and can't be fixed. It should be self-sustaining for 40, maybe 50 years. Don't expect to live long enough to see it fail. There's been no activity from Earth for 6 months. It's safe to assume that all shelters are either no longer operational or no longer occupied. I will cease activity monitoring the Earth. I will place a few listener systems to notify me in case of any reading. TSH-1 might be the last place where humanity has a chance to live on. I received a long-range radio message from the station 2 months ago, but I was unable to decipher a reply.
Interesting. Encoded message that someone sent.
And I'm back.
And I've listened to this recorder, and the spaceman said that the station will last for 40 or 50 years. He doesn't expect to live that long, and he will stop actively monitoring Earth, but will set some listening devices, and also that what the most interesting, that he received some radio message, but it wasn't coded, so he wasn't able to decipher it or reply. And that makes me thinking what it was, and maybe it was sent by someone who didn't really work before as a radio operator, so couldn't understand that encoding should be turned off or something. This thing looks tasty. Usually,
yeah,
a lot of artificial taste imitators are placed inside of such meals, and that makes them tastiest food in the world, but not very healthy food, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
extremely tasty.
judging from the assets, it it's 3D printed food, so it might actually be good. Like it's the future.
That's a food printer. Now
Yeah.
it depends on what they put in the food and what they printed from, and if they manage to just connect atoms into molecule they want, then they can basically create anything out of the air, and it will be great.
So about that radio message, like earlier in the intro cutscene, it was mentioned that your character, like who is from another space station, like they tried to contact this space station before, but didn't get any reply. So it's kind of related to that.
Interesting. I just didn't get a feel that it was them. It feels like it could be anyone from anywhere.
May 2104. The listener system picked something up, and it wasn't just some stray signal, or even someone trying to communicate with me. It was the fucking space gun. Pathos 2 is still alive, and the gun is operational. Not only that, there are traces of it sending data across, somewhere in the Mediterranean, and that place acts as a hub. Then the Indian Ocean, the Black Sea. There are other survivors, underwater. I'm not sure I can manage to communicate with anyone from Earth, but maybe I can try to strain the system and try to contact them.
Interesting. When you hear about space gun, you think it was related to shooting the Ark, but no, it's about spreading some data through the ocean, so that kinda not what you expect, and that gives the curiosity what that exactly is.
Well, it's basically the end of Soma. Like at the end you shoot the space gun with the Ark.
Yeah, but he didn't mention about shooting anything in space. He mentioned about sending some data across the ocean.
Oh yeah, there are things sending data from a place to another.
Oh, this armchair is sticked into the sofa. Should be moved a little to the right. A musical instrument. But the game doesn't let you play it. Another Z5. It's pretty big this time. It's pretty cool how in Soma there are nice shaders for different kinds of papers and notes and posters.
The thing I like about the HPL3 and I haven't seen anywhere else is like the ability to change the specularity of a light. That's like it's not material based. You can change the specularity intensity of the light itself. So like you can make a light be more or less reflective on surfaces, which is theoretically not realistic because in real life it's all material based. But this allows you some sort of tricks.
Yeah, like make surfaces more shiny. That's an interesting feature. course the mirror has to be broken and too dirty to make anything out.
Well, the alternative would be to have even more frame drops, so no.
Player model is required to actually show something in the mirror. And that probably was the reason. Still has water. Nice, the screen is actually controlled by a computer. I think it's the same wire we've seen in the corridor, just a smaller version of it. Some kind of camera. Incredibly big too. Where's his spacesuit? Why is he wearing a shirt? Then again, it's the future, so maybe spacesuits are not really needed unless you're going to get in the open space.
Yeah, and there's only like 3-hand models.
Yeah, Simon in diving suit, Simon in power suit.
December 14th, 2103. It's been almost a year since the impact. There's been no activity for 3 months. I don't want to consider the implications yet. I've been having horrible headaches for the last few weeks. Got a medical scan today. Turns out it's a brain tumor. All this work was for nothing. There was nothing I can do. I can't self-operate. If I'm lucky, maybe I'll live more than 1 to 2 years. Maybe.
How shocking and sad. If only they had some robot which could operate automatically.
I like how the pillows in Soma are actually those orthopedic pillows, which are technically the healthy ones to sleep on.
Oh, distance seems important. It's a clearance for the Omni tool. Almost half a year. Extract of gel. A risky operation. Probably a danger of turning oneself into a monster.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that.
Hmm. This has to be an older walk, but they are chronological. Ah, it's OH and this OF. OD. So that's a different set of walks. Let me see. And probably he operated himself here, and that's why he left the keycard and forgot to take it back.
There's a funny thing about that key card, but I'll explain later.
Interesting.
About the Omni tool too.
Oh wow. Oh, even though the music is like someone is nearby. Just there for the sense of paranoia, I guess.
Not really.
Oh. This meat looks like it was taken from someone who was consumed by the Warden unit.
And this is the part where my other mods start getting mentioned.
A model of a spaceship.
No.
Or artificial Medusa.
You remember the 2013 trailer from Soma? The one with the brain?
In the end, something like brain in a capsule and the red light.
Yeah. It's an asset from that.
Good thing they kept all these unused models in the game to give more freedom for modding. Ah, this must be the research for that structured gel. To make it consume the tumor.
September 12th, 2104. The underwater station seems to be researching structure gel. I thought that would be an opportunity to get rid of my condition. Injecting structure gel in your brain if you're not a trained specialist is a bad idea. I programmed the gel to try to destroy or contain the tumor, but it wasn't fast enough. I am now in the early stages of metastasis. I've intercepted different structure gel formulas from the stations. I've managed to print 3 different samples. Each of them seem to have vastly different properties. They are all quarantined.
3 samples and these 3 things. Seems to be them. It's like meat builder, brain builder, Medusa builder. I wonder if this meat is edible. Because if it is, then structured gel can solve food problems.
Did you see the transmissions movies from fictional games that are set in Soma's universe? There is a guy who starts eating structured gel.
Yeah, because it made him hallucinate his daughter or something like that, and that gave him motivation to eat more and more of it.
Yeah.
Leukos. I think there was a mod under such name.
That's my first mod.
Nice, it's even shown what sample is what. Nearly human being. There is theta that's formed from smaller units. Like a, that one looks like a brain. Brain that's almost alive is what looks like some meat. The mucus is the unknown. And there's some grass contained, or moss or something contained in these jars.
Yeah, maybe that's what they ate, or like edible seaweed or hydroponics things.
No access, and that is where we recall that omnitool modifier from the beginning. Maybe that will help. And also there's another unexplored area. Oh.
Maybe if I
Here,
found some fuel, I could open this.
can you crawl under it? You crawl under tables nicer. That's probably not high enough to crawl. Convenient. We don't have to go all the way back.
Stuck.
And there's even an explanation why we cannot go there, which is also a nice touch. Seems that I'm starting to misremember the location, because I remember the omnitool modifier to be somewhere around this room.
It was on the other side.
Nowhere to be found.
Like the other...
Ah, it's here. No, there's
No,
just a
no.
status.
Like in the other hallway where it was dark and then there was a flickering light.
Ah. Something has happened. No buttons work anymore. I don't think it's possible to do anything here, so let me take it back. I don't know if that gave any help to the door. Probably did, probably just need this place to install the chip we found in the medical lab, so probably now we can try and open it and see if it works. If it won't work, then I don't know what else can be done. Yeah, it worked. That's nice.
Lifting quarantine.
Looks like quarantine is probably going to be helpful. There's such nice glow effect around the planet. Lava parts.
Yeah,
It would be interesting to play a mod where you actually walk on the surface in this
I actually
living
did
hell
that.
and some less damaged areas.
Quarantine lifted.
I actually did the map for for Outpost Calypso, which is on the surface. I can show you a video, but like with the status the mod is in now, I'm not sure it will be released anytime. I think that like 50% of my whole Soma modding was spent on Outpost Calypso, and like 50% of all I did with Soma modding is going to be unreleased.
That's interesting. I'll
Because
have a
it's
look
like-
at it later.
It's like the biggest mod I tried to make.
So green, so full of life, so different from everything else. Water, and some strange mechanism that resembles. It might be the spaceman who injected the structure gel.
It's so cold. This is so strange. What's happening to me? Something growing in my chest.
Nice voice modifier. And we can try and talk to him.
Hey, can you hear me?
He moved his head quicker than usual, though it might have been just a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just it won't start talking.
Looks like a CPU fan. Nice, they are moving around. They went out of the holding place and they occupied the whole laboratory.
Well, they had like 83 days to do that. There's a thing about like this mod, in a sense that like the place you find the Omni tool and the place you find the chip are random. Like it's randomly determined from a set of like 5 or 6 places for each of them.
Nice.
And
That's something unexpected and interesting if you replay it
Yeah.
when you've already played it.
And then the thing that happens to the last surviving person is also random. There are like 1 of 4 things that can happen. One of them is actually never going to happen because there were some bugs with that and I didn't know how to fix them. So there's like only three different states you can find this person in. And it's also randomly chosen at the beginning of the game.
That's a nice pleasant surprise for people who like to replay things.
Yeah,
This
like-
bench looks like it fits in the mood of the area really nicely. Like kinda garden, so such bench. This can be very quickly fixed by moving one of them slightly forward or
Yeah.
backward.
Like in this
Thunder.
and in this, not ending, but in this state the character is in, there will be random bits of circuitry around the ship that will start to electrocute you if you walk over them. But like something else, there would be some different obstacle if something else happened to the person.
That sounds really interesting.
September 19th, 2104. The transmissions have stopped. They suggest there may be problems underwater, however, I still have one last chance to live. I will try using one of the modified types of gel. If this doesn't kill me, then maybe it has a chance of working. The programming is so complex I can barely understand it. I will choose one and hope for the best. I'll go down to hydroponics afterwards. If I die, at least I'll feed the plants.
Like the outcome of what of his like operation depends on what type of gel, the structure gel he chose to use.
And each time he chooses different.
Actually, it's not each time it's different. It's like completely random, so you can get this. You can actually get the same ending twice in a row or something like that. I didn't think it's true that much. I just want to have this random element in the game and then see, like, watch the first videos of it on YouTube, and then there were people on there commenting like, wait, why didn't the monster spawn for you? Or wait, why did this happen instead of what happened to me? And it was fun to watch that. Like, I didn't tell anyone at that point.
Yeah. So amazing that you, even if you watched complete walkthrough of the mod, it turns out it wasn't completely spoiled.
Oh yeah, about that. At the time there was someone who was doing speedruns of Soma mod, and I kind of wanted to give them a challenge. Like, I didn't actually said this will be a challenging mod to speedrun, I think, but I made it so that if he clipped through doors and went to the last place where he had to go to trigger the ending of the game, the ending won't trigger unless you actually do the steps. So he spent like some hours trying to clip the... I don't know how much time he spent actually trying to get to this room, but he got there and then the ending wouldn't trigger, and I hid the Omni tool and the chip in separate locations that were really hard to find if someone did try to break the flow of the game. So I wanted to make it like really hard to speedrun, just because I can. Come to think of it, I kind of made this map just to see reactions of people playing it and reactions of people seeing people play it afterwards.
That's interesting to know that Soma actually has speedrunning and some tricks associated with that. I should look that up later to see how spectacular they are. Though I'm not sure if they will be as amazing as Quake done quicker. But Quake done quicker was very spectacular, and one reason for that is that they, at some point, they stopped just recording demos of themselves speedrunning the game. They actually made made a tool that adds camera, so when they record a demo of themselves playing the game, they actually edit it and add cameras that show the player from spectacular angles, and also types different commentaries to the text. And there's also hilarious how at the beginning the Quaker tries to go to the easy portal and then it turns around and says that it's out of order, and normal pushes him away and heart explodes and turns into nightmare. Actually, the idea of making a difficulty level an in-game choice rather than something in the options is very fresh and memorable, and I wish more games tried to do something like that.
This is Station Rain calling Outpost Calypso. Do you copy?
Sam here. We hear you.
We need to establish a comlink to the Warden at Site Alpha. Something happened at Pathos 2.
The space gun? We detected it too. I thought Pathos 2 was gone with the Warden going rogue and all that, though.
Site Alpha is our concern. We need to collect Warden-related data. The recent event suggests the strain evolved.
Contact request. Sector B 01. This is I'm still alive. Contact progress.
That sounds scary.
This is Station Rain calling Outpost Calypso. This is an emergency contact request. Please respond.
So he managed to decipher some communications after all.
Yeah. Like, this is basically a big dump of information about what's happening in the background and references to other mods they made. And references to mods I thought I would make in the future.
I imagine how shocked these people will be when they get to research Pathos 2 and they find only robots that behave like people and pretend to be people. Still, these robots, they look like, in their behavior, they're so similar to people that they will probably be able to work together with these robots or something like that.
I deal with that a bit in Agony of Rain and plans to deal with that a lot in Outpost Calypso. Like, for Outpost Calypso I actually added a lot of new gameplay elements like hacking minigame for doors,
Excellent.
some sort of player inventory, power-ups, player journal, map, a mini-map that you can have, emails.
That's great. I hope Outpost Calypso will be released eventually in one form or another. It would be nice to experience all that and see.
I'm
how
not
it
sure,
evolves.
like, after that I started working as a programmer in Unity, and working in AngelScript is so hard and bad compared to working in C# and Unity, where, I don't know, like, AngelScript makes everything harder and you don't have access to, like, the source code, so there will always be things that you want to do but simply can't, because that's not how the engine works and you can't change the engine.
Then you can try dialing anyway. It probably won't let you pretty far, especially consider there's a big list of things to choose. It's like in
Yeah, like-
Soma, where there are many list of many people to try to and get the brain scan, but it turns out that nothing works besides only one that you need to scan.
Yeah, but I think in Ariadne's Ocean, in that terminal I spent a lot of time working on, actually added a lot of these, and they would each of them be another underwater station that I created for my mod universe. And yeah, I think it used the same interface.
Station Rain, emergency
Oh,
broadcast.
found something.
If you are hearing this, turn away now. The warden has been corrupted and has taken over the station. Any connections to other stations have been severed, leaving Station Sita and Nitke stranded from the network. I have no other alternative. I ask of any qualified Carthage employee to initiate the termination process of the station if possible. Nothing is recoverable. I repeat, please terminate Station Rain.
Fade out. And so... it was an interactive trailer for that upcoming Outpost Calypso.
Yeah, I think that's just something I said to justify the mod being short. Like, I did the same thing for, like, Agony of Rain, which is happening at Station Rain.
I was expecting some action, then there's just an
Well,
abrupt end.
there is some action, like if you kinda randomly get the ending where the scientist actually tries another structure and then he turns into a monster, but then it's only 1 or 2 encounters at the end. So yeah, this is like the only mod that I made where there are like 66% chances of you not encountering any monster at all.
Actually, I wonder what would happen if I do a quick run, and how quick it would actually be.
This is Cesar Zabala of the TSH-1 speaking, requesting docking procedures. We're part of a salvage team sent to explore and recover the derelict ESS-Apollo. We hope to re-establish communications with the Earth.
the music in this part is, I think, a part of the end credits from Soma, but slowed down like 400%.
Is that an edited audio file, or you
If we
can
don't
slow
secure more
it
resources,
down in the
we
engine?
won't survive another year.
I edited it down in
I repeat,
Audacity.
if anyone is
I
there, please
don't think you can
respond.
slow it down in the engine.
I remember that Doom 3 can slow down sound in the engine and make it down
don't think
slower
so.
and faster in real time.
So, we bought the
And
station?
it's used in some mods for
We bought
changing,
the station.
for effects of communication malfunction, where the machine that
I'm getting short range
generates
radio
the voice.
interference.
I hear you. I'm trying to get past decon.
Good to hear. I'll be checking the other sectors to see if there's anything here. Keep in touch.
Will do.
New user detected. External registration found. Zabala Cesar. Origin TSH1 station. New user ID and PIN code generated. Welcome to ESS-Apollo, the top-level relay hub station.
January 29th.
Sector B is damaged, but it looks like someone moved everything out before. And this looks recent. Maybe there's someone here after all.
The sector is in power saving mode, but seems functional. We'll keep you updated. Power's on.
Good for you. I'm heading out to another sector. This one's an accident waiting to happen.
I think I could use a blowtorch here.
Power up sequence.
It's December 16th.
Lockdown removed.
And then it comes
It's
off
December 16th,
if you just walk away.
2102.
Yeah, all
Common
the voice
fellows
is turned
is
off
headed towards
whenever there is another
International
voice
efforts to
overriding
deflect
it,
the
so
failed.
that you don't have two things
The
speaking
impact
at
of
the same
this
time.
Yes, that's a good idea.
All other crew members have requested transport back to Earth. I suppose simply no one's starving to death out here. I had nothing else to lose, so I remained here. I may be able to manage to get this station to be self-sustaining. April 14th, 2103. The station's fusion reactor is safe in Sector A. However, Sectors B, C, and D are susceptible to damage from external sources. Sector B took a hit a few days ago. It's shielding.
Pascal, you there? Repeat, you there? What's your status?
Sector B compromised.
Shit.
February 24th, 2104. The hydroponic system is running at optimal setting. Recycling systems are subpar and can't be fixed. It should be self-sustaining for 40, maybe 50 years. Don't expect to live long enough to see it fail. In case of any reading, TSH-1 might be the last place where humanity has a chance to live on. I received a long-range
And
radio
here
message from the
it
station
was.
2 months ago, but I was unable to decipher a reply.
I don't remember where the Omnitube was.
I think it was somewhere near the bed.
I
Like
remember.
it can also be in the kitchen, under the bed, inside the closet, on the table.
Only remember that the access card was in the medical bay. It was here and now it's not here anymore, so it probably moved somewhere else. Ah, not far away, but
Yeah, it
still a
can
nice
be
touch.
either here or in the lab.
Now, in lab was also a logical change, a logical place to be there because the Trask seems to have woken here and there too to research Omnitube.
Maybe if I found some fuel, I could open this.
Now it's all about not mixing up the rooms. And so we have.
Lifting quarantine.
He's still in hydroponics, but now he's green and he's lying on the bench.
It didn't do anything. The structure gel failed to have any noticeable effect. For all I know, it is now inert. I didn't notice how beautiful the garden is until now.
Quarantine lifted.
Guess it'll be better in a few weeks.
The fuel is still here,
September 19th,
probably doesn't change the
2104.
location, or just
The
what?
transmissions have stopped.
No, it doesn't. The
Suggests
fuel
there may
and
be problems
the
underwater. However, I still have one last chance to live.
blowtorch are in the same
We'll
place.
try using one of the modified types of gel. If this doesn't kill me, then maybe it has a chance of working. The programming is so complex I can barely understand it. I will choose one and hope for the best. I'll go down to hydroponics afterwards. If I die.
Like in the other ending, there's no one in hydroponics, but the proxy spawns and walks around the spaceship.
Stuck.
And the right chosen communication is probably always rain.
Yeah.
Station Rin, emergency broadcast. If you are hearing this, turn away now. The warden has been corrupted. He has taken over the station.
compromised.
Any connections to other stations have been severed, leaving Station Sita and Nitke stranded from the network. I have no other alternative. I ask of any qualified Carthage employee to initiate the termination process of the station if possible. Nothing is recoverable. I repeat, please terminate Station Rain.
Yeah, that was pretty quick. So
Yeah, and there's no guarantee you would get the different ending third time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something you already saw.
This is Cesar Zabala of the TSH-1 speaking. Requesting
And
docking
even so, like,
procedures.
the monster is very easy to avoid since it's
yeah,
fine.
I think it will be
Part of a
the
salvage
last
team
run,
sent to explore and recover the
and
dead
then we'll
lake
make a
ESS-Apollo.
pause, and
We hope to
then
reestablish
stream
communication
Agony
from
of
here.
Rain if you have time for that.
Is it possible to do that tomorrow?
Tomorrow I might have a stream of Bravado tomorrow. And it will be 10
If we don't
o'clock
secure
your
more
time.
resources, we won't survive another year.
And,
I repeat,
no, not 10
if
o'clock.
anyone is there, please respond.
12 o'clock and 17 o'clock my time, something around that. So we should do it earlier
I
or
don't
later.
think there's anyone left.
So, we bought the station?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine for me.
We bought the station.
Jason, how you there? I'm getting
Actually-
short-range radio interference.
I hear you. I'm trying to get past decon.
Good to hear. I'll be checking the other sectors to see if there's anything here. Keep in touch.
Will do.
New user detected. External registration found.
I forgot the
Zabala
code isn't there yet.
Cesar. Origin TSH-1 station. Clearance granted. New user ID and PIN code generated. Welcome to ESS-Apollo, the top-level relay hub station for the Interplanetary Communications Project. You are currently in Sector D, one of the 3 external wings of the Apollo. This is an all-purpose, self-sustaining, non-specialized module.
Sector D is damaged, but it looks like someone moved everything out before, and this looks recent. Maybe there's someone here after all.
The sector is in power saving mode, but seems functional. I'll keep you updated. Power's on.
Good for you. I'm heading out to another sector. This one's an accident waiting to happen.
Like, if
And-
you go to the left right now, and you hear proxy noises in the distance, then you probably got the ending that you want. You can tell by the ambient noises you hear from time to time. No, it's the same ending you got the first time.
I think I could use a blowtorch here.
You see. So I wonder how the saving, checkpoint saving works here.
I don't think I had any checkpoints because the mod is very short.
So if the proxy kills you, it's just game
Oh,
over.
you mean if the... yeah.
Or
I
maybe
think-
you could have done a system where the player just respawns somewhere else and able to keep playing.
Lockdown
I think
removed.
Soma handles it a bit different from Amnesia in that if you get knocked down, you remain at that position, but the proxy spawns somewhere else around you.
Actually,
And like, if you
if it's possible to just restore players' health after every hit, that is a quick hack to make everything work without any game over screens.
Pascal, you there? Repeat, you there? What's your status?
Sector B compromised.
Shit.
This Omni tool is glued to the table.
well, it's a static model, there was nothing I could do about it.
So it's impossible to turn static model into dynamic.
Well, unless you go through a lot of... Unless you copy it and then you create another entity for it and you add physics to it, bodies, and you can, but it's a lot of work.
To update the mod, or the Omni tool isn't here anymore, would be to maybe, if possible, make a system that saves what engine were already found in a file to prevent them from repeating, so that repeated playthrough are guaranteed to get different engines, so that if you want to see everything you wouldn't have to spend random amount of time for that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that, and I think it's actually doable with some global variables, so... yeah.
Maybe not even on the disk, but something to be consistent between you play, because in Soma, health seems to be consistent. Because I once ended the game with low health, and then when I started a new one I still had low health, and Simon was limping right in his apartment right from the very beginning, and everything had chromatic aberration, like when you're hurt.
Yeah, I think you can get hurt in Monch's office by getting stuck between two crates, and then you take damage from doing that.
In the end of the game, yes, there's a terrain, outdoor terrain in the Ark, and you can get damaged by jumping at the wrong place because there's fall damage.
Yeah, but you can never die from fall damage in Soma.
I didn't know that. I thought if your health decreases then...
What?
I thought if your health decreases, then that should bring you closer to death.
Yeah, but it's capped like 0.2 or 0.1 of your total health. So you will never die from falling. You will only get damaged.
I had no idea. Oh, that's the place where I found the Omni tool. The first time. But now the access card is not in any of these places.
So it might be.
So yeah, probably it is there.
Maybe if I found some fuel, I could open this. Stuck.
At some point after I made this mod, I was considering
Lifting
add
quarantine.
more stuff to it, like after this transmission you try to get out and you get to explore the rest of the space station and that.
Go
like,
into space?
yeah, I was considering that, but at the same time I really wanted to
Make something new.
not to make something new, but to finish like Outpost Calypso and then do Ariadne's Ocean episode 2,
Quarantine lifted.
because that's kind of how the timeline would fit for
Hey, can you hear me?
my mods. Like Ariadne's Ocean is set far into the future, and this is like right after Soma, and like at the same time frame with my other mods, except for Ariadne's Ocean, which is kind of like a sequel in the far future of Soma, or what I think that would be. And I did episode 1 like a year and a half ago, and then started working on stuff to build onto that, so that episode 2 would make sense, but yeah, it turned out to be more work than I thought it would be. Also, that's the episode that's the most inspired by. That's the mod I made. That's the most inspired by the vertical slice Soma. Like, there was a video of how the game looked like and how the game had a completely different feeling 2 years before it was released. And I tried to replicate that.
It's nice how everything gets stuck together in the log.
It's basically a string that gets updated each time you press something.
And there's a nice patch that every connection attempt has different sound. And since secret stations, they have coordinates here instead of their names.
Yeah, but it's the name. Like Lukos is the one on the Black Sea, but you actually have coordinates on it, so like where it would be on Google Maps. The same with Calypso.
So these are realistic coordinates that can be found on the map, and there's enough space under the water there to build a station. That's a really nice touch. Something that very few would find, but those who would find it would appreciate.
Like, Lukos is basically near Snake Island, which is an island that it's kind of disputed territory between Romania and Ukraine.
The warden has been corrupted.
And
and has taken over
it
the
was
station.
historically named
Connections to other
Lukos because it had white cliffs or rocks or something, and that's why I named that mod Lukos,
I have no
Nice.
or like
other
that
alternative.
station.
I ask of any qualified Carthage employee to initiate the termination process of the station if possible. Nothing is recoverable. I repeat, please terminate Station Rain.
Alright, so since we won't be streaming another mod today, I think last run, and then that will be it for today. Oh,
This is Cesar
Think-
Zabala of the TSH-1
Well,
I
speaking.
managed to move the
At
camera
least
around.
Parking procedures.
if you get the ending with the proxy, if not, there isn't really
Part of a
much point.
salvage team sent to
You can
explore
determine
and
that
recover derelict
really
ESS-Apollo.
early in the game after
We
you
hope to
turn on the
re-establish
power.
communications with the Earth.
Like from
Then we
sounds.
can just restart it until the proxy. Just
Yeah.
quit and start it again until the proxy arrives. That's a great idea. Let's do it so we can reach the proxy quickly.
Alternatively, it's possible to simply change
Oh,
something in the code.
Skybox, you can see edges of the
We won't
skybox.
survive another year.
And the bottom is more
I
lit
repeat,
than the others.
If anyone is there,
Yeah,
please respond.
that's a big problem with HBuild 3. It's so hard to get seamless skyboxes, even the ones used by Frictionals that have
I
visible
don't think
themes on
there's
them.
anyone left.
So
You just
we're
need a
both
3D
station.
engine which is able to render seamless
both
skyboxes for you. Like new access, for example, then you just execute the command for that.
I'm getting short-range radio interference.
Or do an env shot
I
in
hear
Doom
you.
3.
Trying to get past decon.
Good to hear.
You know
I'll
how
check
people
the other
usually
sectors
do
to
it?
see if there's anything here.
They make
Keep in touch.
a dome
Will do.
with the stars, or in your case, since it should be all around you, then it will be a sphere with inverted normals, and on the texture of that sphere you draw stars, and then you render it as a skybox in a 3D engine or in a 3D modeling software which supports such command, and then it will be completely seamless because you won't have to fix everything manually. You just make a 3D scene and skybox is being rendered for you from that completely automatically.
New user, welcome to ESS.
Like, as soon as you go to the other room and press to turn on the power, you can go to the left towards where that girder was that explodes later, and then you can hear what kind of ambient noise there is, if there is none,
Good for you.
the
I'm heading
human
on to another
ending.
sector. This
If
one's
there
an
is the
accident rating.
sci-fi sounds, then it's then full on the back ending, and if you hear proxies, it's the proxies ending. No, the other side,
Ah, the other side of the same room.
yeah.
I hear nothing.
I think I could use a blowtorch here.
Yeah, this is the proxy ending.
Nice. At which point the content
January
of
29th,
recorders start to
2103.
change.
This is Damon Thrask.
It never starts to change.
ESS-Apollo. If you're here,
Only the last one
probably
changes,
wanna fix the relay station.
Yeah.
right? I see. Motion detectors. Even today we have shops which have doors with motion detectors that open and close automatically when people approach and leave. So it makes sense to have even more of those in the future.
Yeah, it's a tool for future real-life level designers.
Like in Doom 3 there was a PDA, personal data assistant, a small computer you could carry in your hand, and then only few years later and we have many kinds of these small computers around, complete with touch interfaces and everything. That's pretty interesting how the sci-fi predicted the future and then the future was right there. Of course, there probably were books or something before Doom 3 which predicted the same.
Yeah.
Pascal, you there? Repeat, you there? What's your status? Shit.
Not here. And not here, slowly. This time we received different place. Or the on the tool.
Yes, I thought of actually putting it in the toilet once, but I think I didn't do that.
Oh, found it. Near the musical instrument. Just out of curiosity I checked if it's glued to the table, and it is. Actually it's good that it's glued, because it's gonna be a headache if you push it away accidentally. And like taking it out from here, I don't even know if that's possible. Might be just out of the reach.
Yeah.
Nice look how it's set up. A computer with keyboard and everything.
I think that
oh,
if
floor flooring.
that if you speed run to this point before the Omni tool can set its position, you will find it somewhere hidden, like really far behind the bed. So it's hard to see if you try to speed run.
Interesting. So another challenge for speedrunners.
And the chip, if you speedrun, is somewhere on a shelf which is above you, or on some object, so you have to climb on something to actually see it. So,
cool.
Yeah.
So that are their default positions, and from there they are teleported.
Yes.
When the script determines their new place to be. I don't go that way. I just recalled. Soma physics video.
Yeah, Europe, magenta cylinder.
Now if you move down, it doesn't get updated and it repeats, keeps hanging in the air.
Maybe if I found some fuel, I could open this.
I'm searching for the next spot. It's the same where it was in the previous one. And now it has to be installed into the Omni tool. The place has circular layout. Actually, that's something that I always missed in original Soma, where you cannot run away from monsters effectively because you're gonna hit some dead end.
Yeah, I think that Soma had really interesting monster AI, and like a lot of it was unused or used only once, so you don't really get the chance to learn the AI and see how it's different.
What I've learned is that you need to start running when the monster is far away, and then it won't trigger the chase that kills you. Eventually, even the developers. Oh, really nice how these things look like they are really inseparable parts of these pipes. And the color matches so nicely, you have to look really closely to see that they are sticked. Even the developers admit that monsters sometimes don't work very well because they take away from the exploration, so they made a safe mode where you have to work really hard to make
Actually,
a
I think
monster
that
hit you.
from some considering some aspects, the safe mode is actually scarier, since the monsters use different AI, and they don't aren't always passive. Some of them are. Some of them just follow you around and do nothing, but some of them will actually attack you and hurt you, but not kill you. Like, Acres will get aggressive if you throw objects at him. And then there is the anglerfish. Like, in the original game, without safe mode, it would simply slowly swim towards you and eventually kill you if it got to you. But in safe mode, if it sees you, it will swim towards you at 300, 400 speed. So it's really fast and then runs away, and it's basically a jump scare. But that's kind of how fish actually attack in real life. Like, they swim really fast towards something, bite it, and then run.
That's cool. Different mechanics. And the way that monsters follow but don't attack, it's basically playing on the fear of the unknown, which is also cool. So that probably should be the moment where the proxy spawns.
Lifting quarantine.
The hydroponics is empty, but the last log is there, and there's blood.
Oh shit. How could I have been so stupid? I can feel it spreading inside me. No matter how much pain there's, I take it stuffed up. I don't
It's not black, it's different color. Something else. And of course something had to happen right in the middle of the recording to add drama.
Yeah, obviously. Also, like, the proxies have a really interesting dynamic AI and they work without actually you setting patrols for them. But then at the same time, that AI is very, like, easy to not trigger itself because it needs a lot of noise. Like, I actually had a problem with it because you could simply, literally just crawl to the place where you have to be and it would not spawn unless you did some noise or like threw some objects around, and there was nothing I could do about that.
Oh, someone's screaming. Probably it's near the door. No.
No, it's dynamic, it's wherever it can be. Like, if you started running, it would spawn somewhere.
I hear it behind the door. Oh, the door closes.
Yeah, it plays some relaxing music to take away from the fact that you're actually locked in here.
I'm running, but proxy isn't there.
Oh, well, it despawns after you're here because it can't follow you here.
I see.
Like, this is where the ending happens.
Station Rain, emergency broadcast. If you are hearing this, turn away now. The warden has been corrupted. There's taken over the
Relay
station.
A compromised.
For a moment I thought there was open space behind this window because of this dust
Station seats
that
up
looked
and
like
this case
stars.
stranded from the network. I have no other alternative. I ask of any qualified Carthage employee to initiate the termination process of the station if possible. Nothing is recoverable. I repeat, please terminate Station Rain.
Yeah, so that's it. Those are all 3 available endings. There was another one where I made a custom monster, but it kept getting stuck in T-poses.
Interesting. In some mods I've seen monsters that were not used in the original game. There was a mod which had WoW interiors from Alpha and it had a spider-like monster.
Yeah, I actually was the first one to use that monster in Lucas.
Maybe that was Lucas, I don't know. Because it was so long ago I don't remember what mod that was.
Like, it also used a lot of assets from, like, the 2013 trailer and a lot of WoW stuff. You basically start the mod inside the bathroom.
I see. Well, it's getting late, so I think it's time to end the stream, so thank you very much for coming to the stream, and thanks to everyone who watched. Please come again. I think I'm usually streaming on weekends. I think I'm planning to stream Extinction and Agony of Rain, and also finish Bravada game tomorrow. Goodbye!